Hey guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with r/am I the a-hole, where people want to know whether they are a horrible person or not, and we help them decide. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting to send my teen daughter to a weight loss camp? My daughter, 15 years old, is 5'6", and the last time she weighed herself at the doctor's office, she was at 238 pounds. She is morbidly obese. She was always a chubby kid who loved food and hated activity, no matter how much her dad and I tried to get her to dance, play sports, go on walks with our dog, etc., she would refuse. I regret not taking her to a nutritionist earlier, but I thought that she would go into puberty and her weight would eventually be okay. Unfortunately, when she was 11, her dad and I decided to get a divorce. No special reason, it just wasn't working. We co-parent well, we are friendly, we go on trips with our daughter, etc., but the divorce impacted her negatively at first. She started gaining a lot of weight around that time, so we decided to take her to a nutritionist who recommended therapy for her. She initially lost about 15 pounds, but she was already very dependent on food. Now she is a food addict. Her emotional eating was something she used to cope with the divorce until she adjusted, but now it is all about compensating for not having friends, compensating for not being pretty, compensating for not being liked by boys, etc. She still goes to therapy regularly. She does not suffer from depression or another health condition that might cause her weight gain. She is simply addicted to food, and at her vulnerable age, mentioning her weight to her makes her very upset and uncomfortable. Her dad and I both know this, and it has been causing arguments between us. I'm a very active, fit person and I try to lead by example. No junk food allowed in the house. I cook as much as I can or I get healthy meal delivery, and this makes me the bad guy. She is into the whole body acceptance movement, and she sold the story to her dad, who now allows her to raid his pantry and they eat junk together just so he wouldn't upset her because she's daddy's little girl. He's happy that he gets to be the good guy, and I am the villain who doesn't want her daughter to settle because I want her to live past 35. I encourage her to love herself. I want her to embrace how amazing she is, but I don't want her to accept her condition as something normal that cannot be changed. I am tired seeing how miserable she is because of her weight, and I am tired of thinking about all the diseases that could kill her. I found a great weight management treatment facility, edited instead of camp, because it is very different from the infamous fat camps for teens that is 6 hours away, and I've done my research, but her dad does not want to sign for her to go there from January to July. We can visit her and she can come home once a month, she can go to school there, make friends and get healthy. He says that I am being a selfish a-hole and that our daughter doesn't want to go. She told me that she will think about it, but I think that her dad is loving his role as her superhero because they have bonded in the past months and will encourage her not to go. So guys, the question goes back to you. Do you think OP is the a-hole for wanting to send her teenage daughter to a weight loss camp? Honestly guys, in my opinion, the real a-hole here is actually the ex-husband. Let me know what you think in the comments, and now let's go to the comments in the thread. A user wrote, "Not the a-hole, I am speaking as someone who also grew up fat and used food as a coping mechanism, which I am still unlearning, and ballooned to 340 pounds before I was 25 years old. My mom was basically you. The more she talked about it, the more I snuck food or found ways to binge in private. It got even worse when I could drive. Do not force her to go to a fat camp, it will make it worse. Keep being a good role model, encourage healthy behaviors, don't nag about her weight, and love her where she is at. She will come to her own conclusion about her weight eventually. For me, I was 27 and couldn't get under 300 pounds no matter how hard I tried, and I began working with a weight loss clinic. I had weight loss surgery earlier this year. I am now active and a hiker, and I am at 197 pounds. Do I wish I had done it sooner? Yep. But do I also wish that I didn't feel like a fat disappointment to my mom for most of my life? Even more so. I know you are doing what you are doing because you love your daughter, but she's not receiving it as love. And another person said, I am going to reserve my judgment, but this is classic, clear-cut disordered eating. Many therapists have very little training around eating disorders, and it is already a very difficult area of psychology. Before you send her away from you for 6 months, you should see a therapist who specializes in eating disorders. My best friend has been in and out of various treatment programs for eating disorders for years now. She is in the mental health field herself, and she tells me all the time how incredibly difficult it is to find medical help from somebody who knows what they are talking about when it comes to eating disorders. They are beastly, and I wish your daughter the best. And by the way guys, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much in advance. And the next one is an update to the weight loss story. Hey Reddit, so my ex would not even consider sending our daughter to get treatment for her eating disorder. We missed the sign-up deadline and my daughter had moved in with her dad full-time thanks to his encouragement. He was loving his role of the good parent and lost it when my daughter told me that she had stopped talking to her therapist. Desperate, I filed for sole legal custody and a change of housing arrangements in my favor. My ex was upset that I did it without notifying him first, and my daughter refused to talk to me at all. I was exhausted, so I started therapy alone. My therapist told me to write a letter to my daughter, and that is exactly what I did. 4 days later, she agreed to meet me. We did not talk much at first, but she was happy that I started therapy, and she told me that she misses her therapist, but her dad told her that she doesn't need therapy because she's fine. She also said she misses me, but she wasn't ready to move back in with me because of how controlling and restrictive I am. 2 days later, I asked her to go grocery shopping with me, and I had set aside $50 for her to choose the groceries she wants to buy for our home in case she comes back, and to show her that I was ready to change. In the meantime, my ex got served and my daughter and I went through another period of very little contact because of it. Mid-February, she decided to move back in with me if I put the legal actions on hold. This was a smart tactic on her dad's behalf, I will admit, but she was finally back with me, so I decided to focus on that. I realized that I made the mistake of competing with my ex so many times when I should have focused on my daughter instead. It has been over 2 months and my daughter has not spent a single full day at her dad's place. They hang out, but she chooses not to spend extended periods of time at his house. She's been seeing her therapist since moving back in, and she's in a better place now. It took losing her for me to realize that I needed to change too in order to improve our relationship. I learned to relax more and stop being so tense and constantly moving, and she is starting to understand that I am doing all I can in her favor. She has decided that she wants to lose weight, 23 pounds down, and is hoping to improve her health before college. We have snacks pizza night and we bake a dessert together every weekend. Those things I would never allow before, but we are both learning balance. She still doesn't like to exercise, but we do go on late night walks around the block and she's doing more chores. Our relationship has never been this genuine. We have a long way ahead and I am preparing for the low points that are bound to happen, especially with her dad. But I am appreciating what we have now. Edit, just a quick edit to say thank you for all of your kind, supportive and informative comments. I appreciate it. I apologize if I don't respond to everyone. Edit number 2, she follows the approach of intuitive eating combined with balanced meals that don't deprive her of any food type. This way, she's learning the concept of balance and abandoning the concept of food as a coping mechanism or a punishing tool. As far as physical activity goes, I will definitely talk to her and see if she likes any of the recommendations that you have given. While I agree that weight loss can be achieved even without physical activity, I think that abandoning her sedentary lifestyle step by step, literally, is another way of getting healthier, since weight loss is not a primary goal. I don't have much else to say about her dad other than the fact that I have just recently, with the help of my therapist, realized that he is a classic Disney dad. I know some of you think it is wrong of me to take him to court, but I would stop at nothing to help my kid. I was not going to sit back and let him baby her into death and self-loathing while removing her from my life. If you have more questions, chances are that I've already answered them, so read through my replies. And guys, I'm curious, have you gained any weight during the pandemic? I can say for myself that I sure have, and I kinda miss being able to go to the gym to exercise. Technically, the gyms are back open, but honestly, I think it is still a bit too dangerous to go there. Let me know what you think or your experiences with weight gain or weight loss during the pandemic in the comments. And the next one is titled, Am I the a-hole for calling the police/CPS on my sister-in-law? I am going to try to make this as short as possible while including details needed. I've been with my fiancé for 6 years. My fiancé has an older sister, we will call her Sally, who is 28 and has a 5-year-old child. I was there the day Sally was in labor and baby was born. She is my niece. His entire family has referred to me as his auntie since day one. I am not blood, but we are family. She calls me auntie and we have sleepovers, zoo visits, etc. 2 years ago, Sally was in rehab from drug addiction. Alcohol, painkillers and Xanax were her thing. She had a mental breakdown and the family collected money to send her to rehab and all organized a schedule to take care of the baby. The baby's dad, Sally's boyfriend, has a welding/construction job and was out of town for 2 months, so he was not there for all of this. She checked herself out after 3 days, insisting she was fine and just needed a safe withdrawal. I pick her up, take her to her house, and she immediately goes to smoke weed and drink a beer. I don't think weed is a drug and I am very pro-weed, although I don't smoke, but that was not appropriate considering I just picked her up from rehab. A week later she was fired for snorting in the bathroom, evicted for being 4 months late, totaled her car while driving high, and is being sued for $50,000 from wrecking into her house, and was kicked out of the fiancé's other sister's house for forgetting the sink was plugged up and running. She was high and the entire downstairs was ruined from water damage because nobody else came home for 8 hours. $20,000 of damage, and thank God their house insurance covered it. That was all last year. They've been in their new house on their own for about 6 months. In November, she called father-in-law and said their electricity was shut off because she did not have the money, because boyfriend's paycheck got messed up and did not go through. He paid their late electricity bills, a total of $500, and I thought it was suspiciously expensive, but kept my mouth shut. All has been quiet since. 2 weeks ago she asked me to borrow some money to get groceries for the niece. Of course I'm not going to let my niece or sister go hungry, no matter what is going on otherwise, so I say I will be over at 5, I got off work early and get there at 2:45. I come in using my spare key, walk in, see niece playing with dolls in the corner and Sally passed out on the couch. And also heroin on the coffee table. Unfortunately, coming from a family riddled with addiction, I know what heroin looks like. I don't know how much it was, but I could have scooped it up and filled my palm with it. I noticed radiators everywhere in the front room and niece was in multiple layers of clothes and her winter jacket. The heat was off and the house was maybe -40 Fahrenheit and it was 30 outside. I took my niece to my car and called 911 for an ambulance as I was scared Sally was overdosing. I did not want to alarm and freak out my niece, so I stayed in the car and let her play on my phone until the ambulance arrived. Of course police and CPS showed up as well. I explained the situation, and because niece's dad is out of town working, father and mother-in-law were called. When they arrived, they were quiet and cold, did not really talk, took knees and told me to go home. An hour later I get home and fiancé asks me what I have done. I explained everything to him and all he had was anger for me. Apparently the entire family already knew and were pissed at me for what I had done. Apparently I was out of line and stupid because I called 911 before seeing if she was actually ODing, because it turned out she was just nodding out from the heroin. We fought for hours and I left and spent the night at my best friend's house and cried all night. I couldn't handle it all, so I turned my phone off and tried to relax and just calm down. My best friend was up all night with me, telling me I did nothing wrong and I am okay. I turned my phone on and I had 65 texts and messages, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, fiancé and their extended family members blaming me. They are saying that I ruined her life, ruined niece's life, made everything more complicated than it needed to be, made it public when it was a family affair, and ruined Sally's chances of ever getting cleaned or having custody of her child again. None of them ever want to see me again and I will never see my niece again, and they want me to pay for Sally's jail bond and sue me for the CPS case and emotional damages. I am also now single, so on top of losing my best friend of 10 years, fiancé, I will lose my apartment I had with him, what I considered my family, and my niece. I truly feel horrible. I have horrible anxiety to the point where I am worried someone is going to come get revenge on me for what I did. I cannot eat, I have lost 7 pounds from it, I am not sleeping, I have bags under my eyes. I've had 8 migraine days in 2 weeks. At first I felt so confident in my decision, but as the days go by I am thinking maybe they were right and I should have checked on her before calling 911 and being frazzled. I don't really care about Sally anymore, but I did rip a 5-year-old child away from her parents and I feel horrible about it. I know someone in the family will take her in, but it is never like being with your parents. She will grow up resenting me for it, and all I've ever done is love her as my own. Reddit, am I the a-hole? Please help me, the guilt is eating me alive. So guys, I will redirect this to you. Is OP the a-hole for calling the police/CPS on the sister-in-law? Let us know what you think about this story in the comments. And a user in the comments said, not the a-hole, what if she was ODing and you assumed she was nodding? What would the family say then? Be thankful you got out of that toxic relationship, sorry to say, but they all sound like a bunch of degenerates. And another guy said, not the a-hole, 1000 or something %, that entire family is enabling her, there was no heat, no food, and Lord knows what else. She caused thousands in damage and I bet that the money she's been getting to pay bills has been going to drugs. She will be forced to get clean if she ever wants her kid back. That kid deserves a way better home than what they were giving her. Your ex-fiancé is deep in the fog and denial. They all are supporting the abuse of a child. You didn't do a single thing wrong, you did everything correctly. The most you can do is maybe write a letter to the social worker that is dealing with the case. Outline the manipulation, how long the drug use has been going on, and instances where the child was going without things like heat, food, water, whatever. Don't beat yourself up, you got rid of a few £100 of crazy. And the next one is titled, am I the a-hole for not telling my fiancé that I used to work as an escort? I, 35 female, just got engaged. I've been with him for 2 years and he is amazing and think he would be a great father to my kids. There is however a secret that I have not revealed. About 3 years ago, before I met him, I briefly worked as an escort. It was not long, about 4 months, and I don't have some sob story about how I felt abused and exploited, because frankly I didn't. Like any job, it had its goods and bad parts. I don't have some dramatic story about escaping it. I stopped simply because I did not want to do it anymore. I did not require therapy or rehab, I just moved on and got a normal job. I've been regularly tested and have no STIs, nor so I have any emotional scars from it, so I told myself it is now no one else's business because it won't impact any other relationships. However, it feels wrong that I cannot share this. He once asked how many sexual partners I had, and I simply said a lot and told him technically the truth, that I was prolific at one point in my life but no longer am and don't intend to do so. I am still scared to potentially ruin a great thing if I reveal it, but I am also not looking forward to keeping this a secret for life. Am I the a-hole for keeping it a secret? And then a guy in the comments said, there was a guy on here a week or two ago who found out his wife was an escort at some point and thought it made her damaged and a bunch of other nonsense, and he was ready to leave her. You would be better off telling him now and not 15 years from now he finds out and takes it really badly. You are the a-hole, technically. And another person also said, you are the a-hole. If you honestly believe that knowing this about you would cause him to end the relationship, then you are marrying him under false pretenses. The element of fraud in that makes you the a-hole. If you want to also consider whether him dropping you over it makes him an asshole too, I would have to say no. Having sex for money is rather more extreme than simply having an active sex life, and being unable to get past it is, while not saintly of him, at least understandable. It is also no way to live, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And guys, please let me know in the comments what you think about this story. Do you think OP is the a-hole or not? Let us know. And the next one, update, am I the a-hole for not telling my fiancé that I used to work as an escort? So I thought of what everyone said and considered both sides. I decided that I didn't want this hanging over my head in our marriage, so it was tough, but shortly afterwards one night I had a few glasses of wine and told him that I had something I needed to talk about. I had considered seducing him, having sex and then telling him so I could at least do it one last time, but decided that would be manipulative and dishonest. So I sat down and told him, when I said I had a lot of sexual partners, it was over a stint of about 4 months as an escort. He was taken back a bit and said, that is not something I would expect. I figured no one would. I dress modestly, I am pretty conservative with drinking, and I volunteer with the kids' programs at my church. I had tears in my eyes and asked him if his opinion of me had changed, and he said, well, what you did didn't stop you from being the woman I fell in love with, so why should it? I started crying more, tears of joy. I begged him to let me know if he had any apprehensions or questions, or if it had come between us in any way. He said he might have questions about any cool or sexy stories sometime, but for now, no. He even made a quip about, no wonder you blow my mind in having sex. You were a professional. Not really the type of joke that I would normally appreciate, but in that time it was perfect. And we ended up going to the bedroom not too much later. So now I feel like a huge weight has been lifted, and I know just how much my fiancé loves me and what he's willing to tolerate in me. It is wonderful. We are both in lockdown basically, and both working from home, and I am so thankful to be able to be with a wonderful and amazing man who I love so much and who loves me so much. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.